He once ruled a nation with an iron fist, declaring that he would rather see tens of thousands of people in body bags than let illegal substances destroy an entire generation. But on February 23, 2026, the man who made that declaration sat detained inside a courtroom in The Hague, Netherlands, no longer the most powerful man in the Philippines, now facing the full weight of international justice while 539 victims and their families watched every single moment unfold. This is not just a story about one man. This is a story about power, about accountability, and about whether the world's most influential court can deliver justice to the thousands of ordinary Filipino families who lost someone they loved during one of the most controversial anti-drug campaigns in modern history. The outcome of these proceedings will shape how governments around the world think about state authority and the limits of political power for decades to come. Rodrigo Roa Duterte served as president of the Philippines from 2016 to 2022, but his war on illegal substances actually began long before he reached the national stage. As mayor of Davao City, one of the largest cities in the country, he built a reputation as a hardline enforcer whose city became known for dramatic reductions in crime. That reputation launched him to the presidency, where he escalated his methods to a nationwide scale, setting off a campaign that drew both fierce loyalty from supporters and deep alarm from human rights organizations around the world. The International Criminal Court opened its preliminary examination into the situation in the Philippines back in 2018, and its investigation formally began in 2021. The process was complicated when the Philippine government under Duterte withdrew from the Rome Statute, the founding treaty of the ICC, in 2019. However, ICC judges later ruled that the court retained jurisdiction over crimes allegedly committed while the Philippines was still a member, covering the period from November 1, 2011 through March 16, 2019. That jurisdictional ruling was itself appealed by the defense, adding yet another legal battle to an already complex case. The arrest warrant against Duterte was issued secretly on March 7, 2025, and made public just 4 days later. On March 12, Philippine authorities surrendered him to the court, and his initial appearance before the judges took place on March 14, 2025. From that moment forward, the 80-year-old former president has been held at the ICC detention center in Scheveningen, a facility near The Hague that houses individuals awaiting proceedings before the court. His detention itself became a source of legal dispute, with his defense team filing appeals challenging the conditions and circumstances of his continued custody. Before the confirmation of charges hearing could even begin, Duterte's defense team attempted to delay the proceedings by arguing that their client was not physically or mentally fit to participate. The court responded by appointing a panel of 3 independent medical experts to evaluate him, and after receiving their findings in December 2025, the judges issued a definitive ruling on January 26, 2026, finding Duterte fit to take part in the proceedings and scheduling the hearing to begin on February 23, 2026. Despite being declared fit, Duterte waived his right to appear in the courtroom in person or by video link, meaning the hearing proceeded without him present. The hearing itself spanned 4 days, from February 23 through February 27, 2026, inside Courtroom I of the International Criminal Court. The 3 presiding judges, led by presiding Judge Elia Antoinella Motoc alongside Judges Rain Adelaide Sophie Alapini Gansu and Maria del Socorro Flores Liera, listened as 3 separate voices made their cases. The prosecution, represented by Deputy Prosecutor May Mandiay Nyong and a team of senior trial lawyers, presented arguments that Duterte played a direct and pivotal role in ordering and overseeing the crimes he has been charged with. The office of the prosecutor charged him with 3 counts of crimes against humanity, specifically murder and attempted murder. Speaking on behalf of the 539 recognized victims, Common Legal Representative Paulina Masida told the court that the prosecution had met the evidentiary standard required to confirm the charges and send the case to trial. Behind those 539 names are real families, parents who lost children, children who lost parents, spouses left to raise families alone, many of whom have waited years for any form of recognition that what happened to their loved ones was not simply acceptable collateral damage but a matter of international legal concern. The defense, led by Nicholas Kaufman, pushed back forcefully throughout the 4 days, arguing that the evidence presented by the prosecution was insufficient to meet the legal threshold required for confirmation. The defense maintained that Duterte did not issue specific directives to take the lives of drug suspects during the course of his campaign, and challenged the credibility and sufficiency of the material submitted by prosecutors. The defense also disputed certain claims made by former military figures who were brought in as witnesses, with the prosecution ultimately rejecting those counterclaims on record. Now the fate of the case rests with the 3 judges of Pre-Trial Chamber I, who have up to 60 days from the conclusion of the hearing to issue a written decision. That decision carries 3 possible outcomes. The judges may confirm all or some of the charges and transfer the case to a trial chamber for a full trial, which would make Duterte formally an accused rather than a suspect. They may decline to confirm the charges entirely, which would halt proceedings and require his release from detention. Or they may adjourn the hearing and request that the prosecutor gather additional evidence or refine the charges before returning to court. Whatever they decide, the world will be watching. And for the hundreds of families who have carried their grief from the streets of Manila and Davao all the way to a courtroom in the Netherlands, the decision will mean everything.